I must confess, when it comes to making potato gnocchi, I'm not very good at it. But gnocchi gnudi, well, that's a different story. This recipe is the best, and it's out of my recent cookbook, the Weeknight Cookbook. Gnudi in Italian means naked, and it's called that because there is no potato in it and there's very little flour. So these are going to be light and fluffy once they're cooked. Now, it's a combination of ricotta, so 500 grams of full fat ricotta into a blender, along with some spinach. Now, my whole book is all about getting the most out of your pantry, freezer, and fridge. So I'm using some frozen spinach. There's nothing wrong with frozen spinach. It's got great flavor and it's super convenient. So I've just defrosted it, and after it's been defrosted, I've squeezed out as much moisture as possible. You don't want this to be very wet. It needs to be quite dry. So squeeze it out really well. Use your muscles for that. And you want the same amount of spinach to ricotta. So I'll just crumble that in, and it is already chopped, but we're going to chop it again with our ricotta. For some flavorings and binding agents, parmesan. Parmesan is going to help stick these gnocchi gnudi together, so a generous handful of that. I'm going to reserve a small amount for a garnish later on. Nutmeg for some flavour, a pinch of nutmeg, and 1 egg. For some seasoning, a generous pinch of sea salt. And then we only need 1 tablespoon of flour. I'm using Tipo 00 flour for this. Sprinkle that in. The less flour you add to this, the fluffier it's going to be. Okay, lid can go on, and I'm going to pulse this until it all comes together. This is looking exactly the way it should be. Finely chopped, and it's come together in that pale green colour. So now we can form the gnocchi. That's how easy this is to do. So in a bowl I have some extra Tipo 00 flour, and I'm not even going to take this off the motor. I'm just going to form small balls of gnocchi, about a walnut size, just like this, and I like to just pop them straight into the flour, just like this. Now this is where it gets really interesting, because what's going to happen is that flour is almost going to act like a translucent shell around the gnocchi. So we're just going to coat it and roll it in your hands to make a perfect circle. And you can see it looks super floury at the moment. I'm going to leave these in the fridge for at least 1 hour, and you'll see that the flour absorbs all of the moisture that's in the gnocchi, so from the ricotta and also from that lovely spinach. Once that happens, it's sealed and it's ready to go in the water. So I'll make a few of these, cover them up with some cling film into the fridge, and then we can get cooking. Okay, these have been in the fridge chilling, and look at that. You can see that that flour has pretty much formed a little shell for our delicious ricotta and spinach. Now I've been boiling some water, and I've just turned it down to a gentle boil now. If this is rapidly boiling, the gnudi will break. So now we can add them, and I'm just going to gently lower them into the water. You'll see that they drop all the way down to the bottom, and then you know they're ready when they start to rise to the surface. So in this time, I'm also wanting to make a quick sauce to go with it. And there's nothing better than beurre noisette to serve with this. So the last few can go in. Now I've been preheating another pan over there. So beurre noisette is simply cubes of butter. It's going to go really frothy and foamy, and then it'll start to go nut brown. You'll know the butter is ready when it starts to smell like hazelnuts. And you've got to be careful at that stage because you don't want it to overcook. If it does, then it turns into burnt butter as opposed to burnt noisette. So see how it starts to go really frothy now and it's stopped bubbling? That's a good sign. And you can see the milk solids start to turn and it's a golden brown. I'll turn that off and we can add some sage now. So beautiful, fresh sage. Look at these leaves, they are huge. I'm just going to break them up. I don't mind big ones and little ones, great combination. Just no stalk. And then we'll add this straight to the burnt noisette. And you want to coat and almost submerge all of that sage in the butter and it will start to wilt down and cook. And I'll take it off the heat. And we can start plating up. Perfect timing because the gnocchi gnudi is coming to the surface. See, tells you when it's ready. So just with a slotted spoon, I'm going to take a few of these, serve about that much per person, drain it off really well. We don't want any of that water. And then we'll arrange them onto a plate, just spread them out. And then for the butter, generous amount of this butter I'll drizzle over each gnudi, crowning it with some of that delicious sage. What a fantastic dish, slightly decadent, but when you bite into these, they're like clouds, fluffy, delicate. Finally, some nutmeg, a small pinch of nutmeg, and some extra parmesan because why not? Potato gnocchi, forget about that one. It's all about gnocchi gnudi. The best thing about this is you'll have a lot of the ingredients in your freezer, like frozen spinach, get some ricotta, nutmeg. Absolutely delicious, in my opinion.